Are you trying to lower the property values with all this jungle music and hoodrat nonsense? Go fix your broken down jalopy in the ghetto where it belongs. You ever have one of those moments where the world just goes silent, like someone hit the mute button on the universe, and all you can hear is the ringing in your own ears? Yeah, that was me. One minute, I'm just minding my business in the driveway, wrestling a stubborn tire off my old gray sedan, listening to Bill Withers on my phone. Lovely day, the least offensive song on earth. The next, there's this banshee across the street in a neon green tracksuit, screaming at me like I'd just set her lawn on fire. I'm on my own property, wearing work jeans and gloves, and she's unleashing a lifetime of prejudice over the hood of her latte. Starbucks cup clutched like a weapon, her face knotted up so tight it looked like it hurt, and all I could do was stare back, mouth open, lug wrench in hand. I wanted to laugh, I really did. Part of me even looked for hidden cameras in the bushes, because nobody's this ridiculous in real life, right? But it was just me and her, 50 feet of suburban blacktop and a chasm wider than the Grand Canyon. I tried to keep my cool. "Ma'am," I said, "I just have a flat tire. I'll be done in 20 minutes. Big mistake. That was gasoline on a bonfire. Her face went nuclear. "Don't you ma'am me, you thug. I see what you're doing. You're casing the neighborhood. I'm calling the police." And with that, she whirled around and stomped inside, slamming the door so hard her little wreath bounced. The whole street echoed. For a second, everything went back to normal: birds, lawnmowers, sunlight. Then I heard the garage door across the street creak open, and her monster-sized SUV backed out, tires squealing. I figured she was leaving to cool off, but nope. She cut the wheel too hard, backed straight across the street, and smashed a corner of my newly painted white picket fence. Splintered wood, broken panels, the whole deal. And she didn't even slow down, just peeled off down the block, righteous fury trailing behind her. So now it's me, kneeling in my driveway, staring at a flat tire and a mangled fence, wondering how the hell my Saturday morning went off the rails so fast. I wanted to believe she was all bark, no bite. But then I heard the siren, faint at first, getting louder. And I just knew. She'd called the cops, and I was about to be the villain in her story. Here's the thing. I work in logistics. I solve problems. I don't cause scenes. But suddenly, I was rehearsing that sad, familiar script you learn young. How to stay safe when the cops roll up and you're the only black guy on the block. When the cruiser arrived, 2 officers got out, hands hovering near their holsters, eyes fixed on me. Not the busted fence. Not the screech marks across the road. Me. The older cop, mustache like a broom, barked, "Sir, step away from the vehicle and show me your hands." So I did, nice and slow, palms up. The younger one circled the car, scanning the jack, tools, the spare tire, like I was running some kind of criminal enterprise out of my garage. I tried to keep my voice steady. "Officer, this is my car, my house." That woman screamed at me, called the cops, and then smashed my fence. He looked at the fence, finally, and maybe there was a flicker of doubt. But not much. Then the show started. The Green Goblin, that's what I called her, with that tracksuit, came out, but she wasn't alone. She brought her son. Let's call him Paul, tall, slick hair. I have a lawyer, energy radiating off him. He marched up, arm around his mother, who suddenly looked frail and tragic, dabbing at invisible tears. Paul pointed at me like I'd mugged her. "Officers, thank God you're here. He's been harassing my mother all morning, threatening her, shouting obscenities." She was terrified. It was theater, pure performance. The 2 cops listened, not saying much. I stood there, biting my tongue, knowing if I raised my voice it would just confirm their story. I tried to think, is there anybody who saw what really happened? That's when I remembered my neighbor, Mr. Jean. He's retired, always out in his garden on Saturdays, with a clear view of everything. I gambled. My neighbor, Mr. Jean, might have seen it. I told the officers, nodding to the house next door. Paul scoffed. "Oh, I'm sure you do. A buddy you called to intimidate my mother." But for once, luck was on my side. Mr. Jean, 70-something, came out, watering can in hand. "Heard something?" he said. "You could have heard that woman screaming from the next county." He told the cops exactly what happened, calm and direct. I was changing my tire. Music was low. She screamed ugly things, then smashed my fence and sped off. No drama, just facts. That flipped the script. The cops started to see that maybe I wasn't the menace after all. But Paul wasn't giving up. He started rattling off credentials, threatening lawsuits, claiming his mother was a pillar of the community, board member, charity organizer. It would have been laughable if it wasn't so gross. But Mr. Jean wasn't having it. "I know a liar when I see one," he said. "And I'm looking at two right now." Paul turned purple. The officer had to step between them, warning Paul to calm down. But he just got louder, name-dropping judges and threatening to sue everyone in sight. Eventually, Officer Mustache shut it down. "Sir, your mother is suspected of property destruction and leaving the scene. We'll be taking statements from everyone." Paul tried to keep up the intimidation, but it was clear the wind had shifted. The Green Goblin and her son stormed off, muttering about restraining orders and slander. What followed was a whirlwind. Calls from her son's law firm, threatening restraining orders, cease and desist letters, city code enforcement trucks suddenly showing up to ticket me for grass half an inch too high, the HOA sending warnings for unseemly vehicle maintenance. It was coordinated, a barrage from every angle, trying to bury me in paperwork and fear. But I had my own allies. My cousin Mark is a lawyer. He told me, "Document everything." I took pictures, wrote statements, got Mr. Jean to sign his account. Mark coached me through every letter, every meeting, and when the HOA held their kangaroo court, he prepped me for that too. Paul tried to grandstand, but I stuck to the facts. It felt hopeless, though, like no matter how much proof I had, their word always carried more weight. Then came the twist, maybe the twist of my life. Mark insisted I get a property survey, just to be thorough. The results came back, and wouldn't you know it? Turns out, for 30 years, a chunk of the Green Goblin's precious driveway and her prized oak tree were on my land. The woman who'd screamed about me lowering her property value was literally trespassing. Armed with the survey, Ms. Crane, my new lawyer, filed a lawsuit, repair my fence, pay my legal fees, retract all complaints, and either remove the encroaching driveway or buy the land for a price that would make anyone choke. Suddenly, their threats dried up. Their lawyer called, desperate to settle. We played hardball and got everything. Fence fixed, legal fees paid, a formal retraction, and a big check for the land. The HOA even apologized in writing, wiping my record clean. The day I signed the settlement papers, Paul couldn't even look at me. The Green Goblin looked deflated, half the size she'd been. And that Saturday, as the contractors replaced my fence and the new survey stakes went in, I finally finished the job I'd started, changed the last tire, lowered the jack, and played Lovely Day on my phone, just a little louder than before. Do I feel triumphant? Sure, but I'm not naive. The silence between our houses isn't peace, it's just emptiness. I won, but I know there are thousands of others out there, fighting smaller, quieter battles, sometimes with less luck, less help. It's not really about property lines or fences, it's about standing your ground, even when the whole system feels stacked against you. If you're still reading, let me ask you, what do you think? Who was right, who was wrong? Should people with power get to weaponize it against their neighbors? Have you ever had to fight for something as simple as being left alone on your own land? Drop your story in the comments, or just tell me what you think about justice, community, and the cost of silence. Because this isn't just my story, it's probably yours too, whether you realize it or not.